Hello, day 31 of my 365-day challenge, where I'm basically like working on something new every day and just sharing it and compounding all those things so that I'm building like all these new practices. And today, one of the things that I was thinking about that really I've been working on for years now, and I really feel like the most powerful in my relationships where I do this, but it's the practicing of being. And so today I'm going to say that day 31 is about be the example. So it's all about being what it is that you want to see in the world, right? So, where I kind of do that in my relationships is like, let's say, for instance, with my husband, if there's anything that I'm wishing that he would do differently or whatever, I just focus on myself. Like it's never about him, it's always about me. So a simple example would be, let's say I want to eat healthier that week, and like my husband loves food and he actually eats like pretty good, but he will bring home pizza or he likes ice cream, and I'm like, no. And so my first internal thought is like, why are you doing this and you're making it harder for me? But then I'm like, no, actually, thank you, because you're making me push myself even harder, and thank you because you're making me practice my discipline and like who I want to be. And also too, it's like if I ever feel that he's eating a certain way and I want to eat better, it's like I want to be the example of like an 80-20 rule. Let's say let's eat healthy like 80% of the time, and then 20% of the time have fun and splurge, whatever. And so that's just like a really basic example, but I'll do that even if we have a disagreement on something or whatever. Or when I would dance, I remember like on Pack Modern, I'd always tell our coordinators, I'm like, for the coordinators that are helping lead the team, be the first one at rehearsal, be the last one to leave, work the hardest, because we are the example for the rest of the team. And if our leaders are being lazy, then the team's going to be lazy. So that's like one way of kind of looking at that in the work realm, which it's funny because I feel like now I'm way more lax in my work realm. I'm kind of like, let me see what I can just do and not have to push too hard, because as you get older you're like, what am I being paid for this, and da da da, and like all these things. So anyways, I actually could bring that more into like my workspace again. So I'm declaring I'll do that. And then also too, it's just like with people in general. I find this a lot with like friends in relationships, like kind of going back to that space. um, Sometimes people feel that they can change people, and maybe even though they're like, no, I don't want to change them, but then their actions are actually wanting to do that. And the best way that we can like influence anyone or kind of like shift, not necessarily shift them, but be able to shift maybe their perspective so then they can choose something else for themselves, is to be the example of whatever it is that you're wanting to create. And again, that it could be anything, like literally anything. So if you want to like be with someone who's more patient, then be like the essence of patience, to teach through example. So I, even though I'm not a parent, I always find that like when my brain goes to, okay, if I have kids, like, and this is why I'm doing a lot of what I'm doing right now and why I'm constantly working on myself, is because I want to be the best example that I can be if I ever do have a kid. Because it's not about me telling them what to do. It's literally like, let me be the example of how I want you to be. And I learned so much of that from my dad. Like, my dad is just probably, to me, he's like the most amazing human ever. And who he is just so disciplined and focused and, you know, so fun and compassionate, and like he just honestly to me has it all. And he's also tough and like straight to the point, and he really taught me like, mean what you say and say what you mean. And so I had that type of parent like raise me and really show me the example of what is possible. And he has always like poured love into himself and kept himself very whole and complete, which he taught me to do that. He told me to do it. He'd be like, Lizzie, always have a really strong core. Like, that's their number one. Like, since I was little, tiny girl, like 4 or 5 years old, I remember him being like, have a strong core. And basically, like, that's the most important thing. And it's cool. It's like having that self love. And he didn't just tell me it, he 100% embodies it. And I think that's why, like, one of the biggest reasons why I'm constantly looking at him and just thinking, oh, I want to be just like you. And I think that a lot of people and their kids, it's like you look at your parents and you think, oh, they're my hero. And then you kind of hear people say as they get older, like, oh, I realize they're just like us and like, oh, blah, 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 whatever. And then they're like your peer. And that's all great too. And that actually happened to me as well. But I also think a little bit different. Now I'm like totally shifting into talking about my dad. And this is funny. But I always kind of felt like my dad was my peer, but at the same time, he always was my mentor and my hero and somebody that I just completely looked up to. And it's still like that till this day. Like, I like worship my dad. And then at the same time, like, he's one of my best friends and he's just like a homie and we talk human to human. And I think it was because he always gave me that respect since I was little. Like, he listened to me, he asked me questions, like, he was involved, you know? And I always felt safe with him. Like, that was like the biggest thing. I felt safe. But again, it was because of who he was, just like being as my dad, like just the perfect example. And it made me want to step into that. Like, I always wanted to make him proud. I always want to make the right decisions, because I just want to be like him, you know? And so, yeah, I feel like if there's anything in our world, whether we're parents or, you know, you have a friend that's maybe in your mind, you're like, let's go this way, but we're going this way. Like, be that example so that you can help lead people. And what is that saying? It's like you can lead a horse to the water, but you can't make him drink. My brother-in-law says that. And yeah, you can't change people. Like, I learned that so young. You can't change people. Like, don't even bother. It's such a waste of your energy. And really, to me, like, if you are changing someone and you can be honest enough with yourself that your intention is to change someone, it is probably a distraction from you not wanting to focus on yourself. And if we actually just like turn it to you, like, every person is your mirror. So it's like you just look at yourself and think, okay, why is this person like pissing me off? Well, probably because there's something right there that you need to work on. And so again, that's like lead by example, be the example. And that is what I want to step more into in all areas of my life: health, wealth, spirituality, like not religion, but like just higher realms, and then also in relationships. And that's what I meant to say instead of religion. Not that there's anything wrong with religion. But anyways, yeah, it's like kind of like all of those areas. So yeah, day 31. I am pretty tired. I just got off of the flights from Spain. So yeah. Anyways, I appreciate you guys, and be the example for me, all my friends, please. And then I'll help be an example for you, and then we'll all just keep lifting each other up. Okay, bye.